What's up, everybody? Welcome to the new Raiders podcast. You got the Rican Raider Brothers podcast coming to you live. First official episode. Welcome to Las Vegas Raiders podcast. I'm your boy Nazo. I got my brother Anthony here.
What's up? What's up?
And we're just gonna start it off here. Just getting acquainted, and let me just get this music to fade out. Really appreciate you guys joining us. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. So let's just start out. Originally had plans to have a podcast with another friend of mine, but my brother ended up stepping up to the plate. He is a Jets fan, but he is a passionate football fan. And I continually keep him updated on the Raiders all the time. And he's always letting me know kind of things that are up and coming or any kind of news that drops and ask me if I see it. We're on Twitter. We're on, all the social media platforms. Him more than me, just because I'm only on Facebook and Twitter. But I just wanted to bring something to you guys just so we can do this on a weekly basis, get acquainted, have somebody who I'm comfortable with, talk some football. And I've been a Raiders fan since I was a little kid. I'm 35 years old. I'm an Army veteran. My brother here is in the Navy. So you got two military guys here just chopping it up about some football, and just kind of want to get right into it. Let me just go ahead and let my brother go ahead and introduce himself and give you a little background. So go ahead.
What's up, guys? My name's Anthony. Yeah, like Keith said, I'm basically big time football fan. As he said, we're here to just chop it up for the week. I mean, this is what we're here to do. We're here to talk about football. We're passionate. We want to know your views. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what the deal is. We want input, right? So that's the biggest thing is that we're all here to see our team grow. Biggest thing is Vegas is new. We got a new venture here. Moved a couple different times. We came from LA. We went to Oakland. Now here we are. Now we're back in Vegas. Here it is, man. This is a new bright shining star. We got some upcoming stars. We're going to talk about a lot of great things that are going on with the podcast. And that's the biggest thing to know is that we all love football, right? It doesn't matter who we're cheering for. It matters if we're passionate about the brand. As Keith said, we grew up together. Him and I were brothers, right? I am a Jets fan. Yes, I'll take all the hate. That's fine. I don't mind. But here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing, right? I love the Raiders. I think the Raiders are a great brand. I think what they stand for and where they're coming from is a big upcoming name that's coming, right? They're going to the bowl sooner or later, with everything that they got going on. That's what we're here to talk about. We're really passionate about the brand. We're here to do it. It doesn't matter. We want to hear all inputs, positive, negative. If you disagree, you agree, let us know. That's what we're here for. That's it, baby. Let's get it going. Keith, I'm happy that you invited me, man. Let's get this going, bro.
Yes, sir. And as you see, my brother refers to me as Keith. All my friends call me Nazo. He's known me since birth, so you can refer to me as Nazo, Keith, whatever you want to mention me as. But, let's just get right into it, man. With the Raiders this year, a lot of things that aren't really being talked about is just how well revamped this team is. Last year we went 8-8. We collapsed after going 6-3. Our defensive coordinator was just shit, absolute shit. We pretty much had our players doing too much when they needed to simplify football. And we have a high-powered offense that, we'll get into some potential breakout stars and the folks that we think are going to really impact this team, especially on the defensive side. I'm just really excited. I just think that there's a lot of great stuff coming. Las Vegas is a great attraction. The city itself brings so much more than just football, just because of it being such a center point for entertainment. It automatically will draw in interest from players because of the tax or lack thereof that'll impact the salary for, favorability with the players. And it's just one of the things that just excites me, because in Oakland, we weren't talking about this. Nobody really wanted to go to Oakland. I love the Bay Area, but let's just be honest. It was kind of a shithole place as far as the facility is concerned. When players came in to visit, they weren't really impressed. And yes, the coach, can only do so much, but we really didn't have the attraction that we needed like Las Vegas brings. So I just want to start out with, talking about the changes that we made. And I think the biggest addition, to the Las Vegas Raiders is Gus Bradley. So I know you kind of were doing your homework, Anthony, and just were trying to catch up on just players that we acquired and, the new coaches who we brought in. And I just want to get your take from somebody who's not a Raiders fan, looking from the outside in. And I'll go ahead and share my take with you as far as the impact that Gus Bradley is going to have, this year and moving forward. So,
Yo, Nas, look, I got two things for you, right? All right, Gus Bradley, huge addition, right? And then the biggest name that he brought over with him that's going to make a massive impact right off the bat, KJ Wright. Bam, right off the bat. We're affecting the culture from a guy who's previously worked with. And in addition to that, let's talk about another big name, right? I'm going to speak right off the bat, bro. You got a young team. Let's talk about Yannick Ngakoue. Bam. Oh, yeah. Two pipe hitters right off the bat. Let's start right there, bro. We're getting hyped right off the bat, bro. Right off the bat. A lot of people are still like feeling a little low from, hey, we lost Khalil Mack, blah, blah, blah. Let's not get it twisted right away. We got massive increase in draft capital, but now let's look at where we are today. Yep. Yannick Ngakoue, KJ Wright, that defense as of right now has an identity. Last year, searching, John Abram was doing it. Big hitter, spear, man. I love this dude. He's like Goldberg out there, spearing people, taking the heat, bringing the heat. Love it. But now we got an identity. That's my biggest thing is we're literally putting an identity to a defense. Yep. That's the biggest thing. You have a name, you have a purpose, and you have guys who are going to basically live that identity. I love the addition of KJ Wright and Ngakoue. Like from there, I mean, I really don't think anybody can even complain. There is zero complaints across the board. Really fundamental identity changing guys. Yeah. Even though Ngakoue's on a 1-year deal, right?
No, he's on a 2-year deal.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're right. He's on a 2-year deal right now, right? KJ Wright, my apologies. He's on a 1-year deal right now. Yep. But here's the thing. You bring dudes like that in to start an identity, change the culture. That guy will be here for a long time.
Yeah, and bring young guys along too.
That guy comes in, sets an impact, has a career year, affects the guys around him. Now we're talking. Now you're talking top 3, top 5 defense. End it. He'll stay here until he's done, bro. I love the additions, man.
I don't know. I don't know if I go that high just because, trust me, man, like I love the Raiders. And the thing is I think it elevates us significantly. Like, we were in the bottom 5 last year in defense and we had a top 10 offense. So when you think about the swing in momentum, if you elevate bottom 5 to middle of the league defense, you immediately are in playoff consideration right off the bat. So I like how you brought up Yannick Ngakoue and KJ Wright because those are premier players. Yannick Ngakoue, he's 26 years old. People want to talk shit about how he bounced around, to multiple teams. But this is a guy who was not only not being used properly, but he wasn't like a coaching staff that he believed in, who he could stand behind, and who was going to use him effectively and give him kind of that role that he needed, that he now has with the Raiders. Because, I mean, right now, he's a captain with the Raiders. Right now, he's going to help bring along Max Crosby even more. Right now, maybe he can coach up Cleveland Farrell. You know, there's just that it factor that Yannick Ngakoue brings. And the thing that people just really piss me off about is the disrespect when it comes to him being a top 5 pass rusher in the league the last 5 years. The dude is 26 years old. He's 26 years old. And he's literally been in the top 5 in pass rushing in the last 5 years. And with KJ Wright, he's been doing it for 10 years, man. He was on the original Legion of Boom with Gus Bradley. Like, he was a part of something special. And not only that, not only is he a hard hitter, he's very instinctive, and he's a coverage linebacker. So you have somebody out there who's 6'4", who can move around, who's nimble, who can be in coverage and just lay the boom down. And like you said, with Abram, I think last year, you know, he was playing out of position. Like, let's just go ahead and call it what it is. He was playing out of position. He got exposed. We realized that he's a box safety. That's where he's going to flourish. And Gus Bradley, bringing him in, he's doing the equivalent to what Bill Belichick does with players. He plays players to their strengths, okay? He's not going to make Jonathan Abram go out and, you know, play coverage. He's like, I want you down in the box. I want you to cover the run. I want you to lay hits on people, and I want you to cause pressure, you know, because that's a potential blitzing safety, you know, that you can have, just being that rover, you know, just that DB linebacker kind of slasher role. Now,
he runs a 4-3 cover 3 defense.
4-3 cover 3 defense. But
that's the reason why you bring KJ in, because he's used to that.
Yeah.
He knows how to play that. You know, I mean, you have a full training camp of running that with your defense now. You change from what you were running previously, right? And again, you don't have guys who are dead set on running the previous scheme that was run with, you know, your previous predecessors, right? You bring these new guys in, you have new blood, you have newfound, you know, energy that's coming in. And for me, Gruden's about that. Gruden's about, all right, guess what? This didn't work. Let's change it up. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, with Gus Bradley, the reason why he's so pivotal is look at what he's done with defenses just running a simple scheme. He's found ways to make turnovers, and that's what the Raiders need. They've been horrible at it. Like, let's just call it what it is. I mean, I think the most turnovers we had was, you know, when Khalil Mack was on the regime. And the thing is we had 1 year of 12 wins, but we still weren't good. Like, we still had a bunch of comeback wins from Derek Carr. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, Khalil Mack is a premier rusher, but who else was there? Like, we didn't have, Bruce Irvin was, he was all right, but, you know, our corners were getting fucking burnt. He was old.
Let's be real. He was old.
Our corners were getting burnt left and right. You know, we couldn't stop third down. And it's just one of those things where Gus Bradley, not only does he bring a simplification to the defense, but he brings in the players who are going to help coach up the young guys. And a couple other people we didn't mention. You got Casey Hayward. Casey Hayward, you know, they signed him. That's going to not only make your DB room even tighter, it's going to help all those guys that may have those questions of just like technique, footwork, how to position themselves a little bit better to get a leg up on some of the receivers that may be a little bit more athletic and faster than them, just because of the veteran experience. And along with that, how to excel in his scheme that he runs. And the best one that I love that he brought over was Denzel Perryman. I don't think, you know, it's going to be any negative, energy that's brought over, because yes, he's had some injury concerns, you know, as far as finishing like a full season. But if you have Denzel Perryman and KJ Wright, right there, our linebacker room immediately got better. So you're looking at probably a rotation of KJ Wright, Denzel Perryman, Cory Littleton, with Kwiatkowski and Perryman rotating out at middle. And then you could bring in Divine Diablo, who's a rookie, for some of those coverage, like more coverage or quarterback spy situations. especially with, our upcoming week, which we'll get to that. But I want to continue talking about the defensive edition. So I know I sent you kind of some information because you kind of just wanted to get caught up to speed.
Yeah, and for me, the biggest addition that you just said, because we're talking about the culture, you're talking about adding people in. Let's talk about the secondary and Trayvon Mooring, okay? That's the biggest guy who's coming in, right? He's a guy who's going to have immediate impact in that secondary that's been weak for years, right? I know LaMarcus Joyner. I know he went to the Jets. Yes, all right, great. Guess what? We got burned. It's okay, not a big deal. Our secondary is real weak. That's not a big deal. But here's the thing, right? For the Raiders, though, the Raiders, great addition, young guy, big cat, right? He's coming out of TCU. I like it.
TCU's a good program. They got a good program.
I like it. I like it. Texas Christian University, great school, right? We could talk about another guy who came to SoCal and did really well. A little guy by the name of LaDainian Tomlinson, who had a pretty good career in SoCal. We could just go ahead and etch that name into Las Vegas. That's what I'm thinking is Morgan's going to have a good career with Vegas, man. I think that, like I said, with the culture that's been brought in, that name added into the secondary, big name, man. Big name from the draft. I like that addition.
Yeah, and I think the thing is with, Trayvon Morig or Merrig, however the hell you want to say it, I'm terrible.
I think it's Morig.
Yeah. So, I mean, just look at when Gus Bradley had Derwin James. Now, I'm not saying he's Derwin James, okay? But the potential to be that playmaker, that type of, not only being able to stop the deep threat, but also creating turnovers, I think Merrig has it. Like, just what he did at TCU. Now, I know they did run like a split safety where they had two deep a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing is it's like Abram was back there just winging it, because yes, he did play that to an extent in college, but let's not say that that's his strength, because he's like that. Like I was telling you, that Bob Sanders, back on the Colts. He's downhill. He's going to hit you hard, and he's going to be able to, blitz off the corner. He's going to be that kind of slasher linebacker / safety position, and he's going to lay wood on you like that. That's what he's going to do. And you know what I do like is Tyree Gillespie, that other young guy who we got as a safety. I think the ability that he brings from a backup perspective, and just when he gets his moments, I think he's going to make the most of it, because he was very productive in college. Now, he's not going to be a starter, but I could see a rotation where there's certain packages that they do bring him in, because he's got a lot of talent. This guy is one heck of a talent. And just seeing him in preseason, I think it was against like the 49ers when he really laid, he laid their backup tight end out. Now it's not, what the hell's his name on the 49ers? I don't even care. The tight end.
Oh, Kittle.
Yeah, George Kittle. I don't know why I was drawing a blank. So, yeah, he's no Darren Waller Kittle as far as size, but
not even close.
The dude that he laid on the ground, Tyree Gillespie, in preseason for the 49ers, it was no slouch, So at least that he's a physical downhill safety when he's in running situations. But he does have the versatility to back up Trayvon Morig. And I'm excited, man. Like, there's a bunch of young guys that we brought in, especially with Malcolm Kuntz. That was the other defensive end that I really think Yannick Ngakoue is going to play a big role in. Yeah. He's going to help bring him along, because Malcolm Kuntz is a little bit smaller than Khalil Mack. He comes from the same program in Buffalo.
Yep.
And he's got that speed off the edge. Now he's got to put some mass on. And we all know when you come in the league from college, you're going to need to put mass on. Like, these dudes in the NFL are huge. Like, a safety in college and a safety in the NFL, it's almost like two phases past, your seniors in college, because they have that growth of, being in the weight room. The training programs are on. There's a lot of speed that increases from that position as well. And I think Malcolm Kuntz He's getting caught up to speed really well, but I really think Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby can really help him get along quicker than intended. And with Yannick Ngakoue and, Max Crosby being captains, I mean, they're kind of paving the way for the next generation of pass rushers on that team, establishing them, right now, but for the ones that come in after them, bringing them along fast and getting up to speed and just hitting the ground running. And what do you think about Nate Hobbs, man?
Yeah, before we move along, I just want to touch base on one thing before we move on from Trayvon Mooring, right? You were just touching base on the similarities and how you were just and how you beef up from college, right?
Yeah.
Derwin James, NFL size, 6'2", 216.
Yeah.
Trayvon Mooring, 6'2", 202.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
So the similarities very, very parallel. You'll see a lot of guys from their first to third, fourth year throw on about a good 15, 20 pounds because they're translating to the NFL program. Just like you said there, Nas, we're just sitting there. We're comparing. They're very interchangeable, very similar style. You could have that similar impact. That's something that's going to be very key. I mean, you were just touching base on that. And before we moved on, I thought that's something really key to touch on is that, again, as you gain that age, that experience, that size is going to come along, man. It's going to be big time. It's going to be big time. That similarity is going to be big. And I think something that Raider Nation can really look forward to.
Yeah. And the thing is, it takes about I would say 1 to 3 years for, a player to get to their ideal physique once they transition from college to NFL. And you made a good point. Trayvon Merrick, he has the stature. So once he fills out that frame a little bit more, I mean, we could be talking that he gets up to maybe 215, 220, and now is the same exact size as Derwin James with that speed. And if you got Jonathan Abram playing in front of you, I mean, I don't know who the Chargers had playing in front of Derwin James because I really don't give a shit, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you have Jonathan Abram in front of you and you're the coverage guy in the back, you got nothing but happiness inside of you because you got two legit dudes right there. That could be the future, which I know Jonathan Abram, he gets a lot of shit because his first year, he had the one game against Denver, separated his shoulder. He got knocked out of the game. He actually ended up finishing the game, which is crazy. And then he was out for the season. Then last year he plays out of position. And then finally now he goes back to his, intended role with Trayvon Merrick being, pretty much our center fielder, which I'm fucking super happy with because I think that was the best thing of the draft that, they want to talk so much shit about the Raiders draft, which I know Gruden's not the best, but, just a little tidbit here. I think it was, I want to say 2019, Bill Belichick, his whole draft class is gone. Nobody exists from that draft class. Now Bill Belichick is very successful. I'm not saying that Gruden is Belichick, but let's not forget, this happens frequently within coaching, okay? Where draft classes, they come and go as far as the players, and there may be 1 or 2 that stick out. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Well, I mean, he's hit more than he's missed. Let's not get that wrong, okay? And that's where I think that's where the genius of John Gruden comes along. With him and Mike Mayock, they have been hitting a lot. Now, I'm not saying that they're hitting home runs, but they are producing guys who are NFL talent, who are sticking around the league, who are not just they're being invited into camp and then 1-2 years later they're out of the league. No, we're talking about dudes that are catching on with other teams, making an impact across the league, okay? And that is very true. You can look at that across the board. They are very good talent. And, that's one thing that the Raiders and their front office has done for quite a while is they've drafted, they do their homework, they find good talent, and the talent translates into NFL prospects. And I'm talking
whether they keep them or not on their squad.
That's what I'm saying though, is that they are NFL prospects that make it in the league.
Exactly.
I mean, whether or not they stay with the Raiders, like you said, they're in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up because I think probably the shining star in our draft that we never even thought about was in the 5th round, Nate Hobbs. This guy tore shit up in preseason, man. He was the highest ranked secondary player in preseason. Okay. Not only did he get a sack, cause a fumble, and then also interception. And this is all in preseason. And he's a 5th rounder. You know who else was a 5th rounder? Max Crosby was a 5th rounder.
There you go.
Actually,
Max, baby.
Actually, no, he was a 4th rounder. I'm sorry. So, but still, late round, 4th, 5th round. I mean, if you get anyone who's starting caliber in the draft, there's nothing to get upset with if you let go of a 3rd round draft pick, like what happened with Tanner Muse, where we ended up cutting him and he ended up getting on, Seattle's practice squad. But at the same time, we got fucking KJ Wright. I would trade KJ Wright for Tanner Muse any day of the week. I'll give him to you. I'll give you another pick. I really don't care. But Nate Hobbs, man, I'm just telling you, I know you don't know too much about him. Just because during preseason you were trying to check on, Zach Wilson and the Jets. But I'm telling you, man, you really need to take a look at this guy because Nate Hobbs is going to be a name that you'll hear mentioned more and more as the season goes along. Because I think he's going to get in more and more reps as the games come along. Now, I'm not saying he's going to take anyone's starting spot, but there are going to be packages where he's going to be in there and he makes the most of his reps. And, this guy is coming from the Fighting Illini, Illinois. And guess who his coach was, Anthony? Lovie Smith. Now that's a guy.
There you go. Exactly. I was just going to say that because I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at Nate Hobbs right now and the overall impact that this kid's got. This kid has got a good lineage. He's been coached up by the right people. He's got one of the highest grades on PFF, so he's definitely something who is the steal of the draft, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. He came out of Fighting Illini, right? The kid's not bad. He's 6 foot, 194, 5th round pick. Like you said, he's got that Lovie Smith. And anybody who knows Lovie Smith, I mean, yeah, you might think about Lovie Smith when he was the head coach of the Bears. Great.
Not a head coach, though. He's a defensive coordinator.
That's what I was just about to say. Thank you.
Yeah.
The dude is defensive genius. And if the guy gets in you and instills certain things in you, this kid, I definitely can see it. I can definitely tell you that he's going to be, again, you're talking about a secondary with young kids. We talked about Morg. Now we got Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs is, again, maybe not a guy who's going to start right away, but still,
he's a contributor.
He's definitely going to be a kid that with that new defensive scheme, that new identity, right? He could go a really long way into being somebody who is going to be a lockdown corner that you could either put on your 2nd or 3rd wide receiver on any other team who's going to shut you down that you don't have to worry about. He can come in and really do damage.
Yeah, and I think I don't know so much if he's going to play the outside because he can play the outside. He most likely will flourish in like a nickel cornerback or slot corner.
Okay.
So Amik Robertson was one of those guys who kind of got lost in the shuffle last year. He was a 4th rounder. Yeah, I think he was our 4th round pick, if I'm not mistaken. And he's fast, man. Like this dude, he's small. Now he is small. I think he's like about 5'9", but the dude, he's physical. He's a physical 5'9". He plays like he's 6'1", 220, like for real. So him and Nate Hobbs will probably be doing some exchanging as far as when it comes to matchups. And the thing is defensively in this draft, right? So we brought in Gus Bradley. He brought in Ron Miles. I forget the linebackers coach, but he also came in. Let me see here. I can't remember what the linebacker coach's name is, but he's another good coach with plenty of experience, proven players in their system. And I like the staff that Gus Bradley brought over. Now, defensively, Gus Bradley had his imprints all over the draft and free agency, right? So let's just break it down real quick. So the additions, right, of this offseason for defense, you got Yannick Ngakoue, who we signed in free agency, Casey Hayward, you got Quentin Jefferson, who
your linebacker. Hey, by the way, your linebacker coach is Richard Smith.
Richard Smith, yeah, exactly. Richard Smith. So Richard Smith, Ron Miles, and Gus Bradley. Those three, you're talking about the guy who runs the helm at defense. Then you got a secondary coach who has almost 3 decades of experience. I think he's up there like anywhere from 26 to 28 years.
Are you talking about Richard Smith?
No, Ron Miles. He has about 26, 28 years.
He's got 21 years of experience.
21 years.
Richard Smith has 33 years of linebacking coaching experience.
Okay. Yeah, so my apologies. I was giving Ron Miles more years on his resume, so my apologies on that. But, these are proven positional coaches who are at key positions. Our linebackers, bro, Paul Guenther was having our linebackers running around not knowing what the hell football was last year because he had 30 different options on third down on what play calling to call. And it's like, you got to simplify the game so the players can be themselves, the athletic fine-tuned machines that they are, and just get the job done. That's all it is. It's just one of those things where those 2 positions in specific were detrimental to us. Our secondary getting burnt, our linebackers, our up front 7 is pretty much where we need to have, establishment. And, we did that in free agency and the draft. So going back to the additions, right? Yannick Ngakoue, got Casey Hayward, you got Solomon Thomas, you got Quentin Jefferson, Darius Philon, and Gerald McCoy, and Denzel Perryman. That alone right there, you have multiple Pro Bowls there. You have big physical people. You have penetration up front. Then you have second-level players, on linebacking core that can not only blitz, they can cover, and they can play the run great. And then you have Casey Hayward who's coaching up the young guys, which we got, Damon Arnett. He's got to come along. You got Trayvon Mullen, who's just been kind of balling on his own, but we know that there's still more that we need to bring out of him. Amik Robertson is going to go ahead and come along further. And it's just one of those things where it's like this nucleus that we have on defense, we can thank Gus Bradley and Mike Mayock, because John Gruden, he'll kind of let you do what you want if he has trust in you, which he gave too much trust in Paul Guenther. But offense is his specialty, right?
Yeah.
That's why we were top 10 in offense. Like, I know people like to give him shit and people were calling for his head and God knows what else because of the collapses. But
come on, man, yeah.
It's just because defense isn't his specialty. And he had somebody who he trusted who was not good. Paul Guenther when he was in Cincinnati, the veteran players he had made him
yes.
his coaching name.
Yes.
It wasn't his play calling, I'll tell you that.
It's not. You're absolutely right. They had freak talent there, bro.
Exactly.
A lot of freak talent there. Yeah. And where are they now? All that talent's gone, and now you see where they are now.
No, they're not. And the thing is that I would say is just, because I want to transition over to the offensive side.
Yeah.
Gus Bradley was the best hire, the best offensive addition. Because with no Gus Bradley, we don't have those players. We're not sitting here talking about the excitement of the defense. It's just not happening.
Okay, so yeah, you just said offense. That was a good offensive addition. Before, I just wanted to correct you on that. You meant defense. I just wanted to double check on that.
No, it was the best off-season addition.
Yeah, there you go. But again, just to touch base with you. Again, you have guys who were there last year, mainly, and we'll get into this next time because this is a guy who I'm going to capitalize on later. Cory Littleton is going to have a monster year. I'm telling you this now. Cory Littleton is going to have a monster year. Last year, he did okay, right? He didn't have a monstrous year, but with the guys that you just named, which any team bringing all of those names in and adding them to your roster from a defensive standpoint, okay?
Yeah.
Which already the Raiders had a good core, but adding those additional guys in, and we talked about the identity of the Las Vegas Raiders. This is the first year that you have fans in the stands as the Las Vegas Raiders. I see a lot of promise. I see a lot of people being really hyped about the defense. You're absolutely right that a lot of these young guys,
it's just negative as shit.
Yeah. A lot of the defense that's going to come out and play.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see you're going to see a huge change, a huge up-tempo in defense. Last year, if you thought the way that they played against Kansas City was anything, imagine with the talent that you have now, how difficult they're going to start laying the wood on some offenses. Come on. And here's the thing.
I can't wait for Yannick and Max Crosby show. I can't wait for it.
I mean, week one, we might not be able to tell, because here's the thing is that, all right, the Ravens are your week one opponent. They don't really have fantastic wide receivers, and you have a depleted backfield. Yeah. So the defense might not show all of its colors in week one. And again, you're really in a process of, do you really have the chemistry through 4, 5, 6 weeks of a training camp? Yeah. The answer is no. Now, get at me week 8 when you have all these guys cruising along and you've been playing in game time situations. Now we're looking, and I guarantee you're going to definitely see a big time up tempo of a defense that has a clear cut identity. I'm still aiming for top 5 defense with these guys, man. I know you're not as amped as I am. I just see the names. I see the way it could be, and I see the potential that it could go. I'm telling you, man, ceiling, I'm saying top 3. I'm saying 3. I'm not saying 1, 2, but I'm saying 3 is the ceiling for me. I say at least you're looking at a top 10 defense right off the bat with all these guys.
I like your promise, man. It's just there's so many good defenses, man. Just look at, because we're recording this on Sunday, September 12th. So, you look at fucking Chandler Jones and JJ Watt, on the Cardinals, and they do have a good defense. Their secondary, they did lose Patrick Peterson and whatnot, but, the Steelers, and then you have Miami, you have the Rams. So, you gotta, let's say if we're at 18, right? 18th in defense, you're looking at the playoffs. Now, I know what you're saying, because you're excited about the player personnel stuff, and I appreciate that. The thing is realistically, I would say a good target that we could say is reachable is 17 to 20th.
Okay.
Which that 8 wins turns into 11 maybe.
Yeah.
So I think 11 wins would get you into the playoffs this year. 11-6 should get you in the playoffs.
Well, if we look at today's benchmark on what defenses who were productive last year did today, they literally had a shit showing today. Today's defense today, week 1, NFL week 1, defense was nowhere there. I think that, and again, I'm not a Cardinals hater. I'm not a Cardinals lover, but I'm going to tell you that it just seemed like the offense for Tennessee never got going today. So I'm not going to give Arizona their just due. I'm sorry. Hey, I just didn't see.
Remember I told you? Todd Downing is their offensive coordinator. He ruined the Raiders.
So that's why I'm saying, you can't tell me. I do agree that you added some great pieces into Arizona, and everybody's blowing them right now, saying that they're going to be a top defense. But here's the thing is, you played an offense that never kicked off what they could possibly be. You added Julio, you have the rushing champion in Derrick Henry, and you have Tannehill, who was a top quarterback last year. Tannehill didn't even get going until the second or third quarter. I mean, Julio didn't do shit, and Derrick Henry didn't turn in anything. So really, it was a lack of offense rather than the turning on of the defense for me. That's just for me. Like I said, don't crucify me, but that's just what I'm saying. So, I mean, I'm saying if the defense plays up to their potential, week one, a lot of defenses just did not show up. And the one team that also did not show up that a lot of teams are saying is the Buffalo Bills. Bills defense fell flat today. Okay. Yeah, Bills defense fell very flat today. And I mean, they're a defense that a lot of people are going to be gunning for. But again, you know, I mean, hey, what can you say? I mean, that's what happens, man. So I mean, I like you have a very realistic number of where you're putting the Raiders at.
Yeah.
20. That'll easily be
17 to 20 will get you in the playoffs.
I think that'll easily be achieved, but I'm saying if everyone hits, and that's a big if. We're talking about everyone on all cylinders. Everybody is absolutely hitting. You're looking at a top 10 defense, bro. You really
well, and just look at this because this is scary. So you have Gerald McCoy, Darius Philon, Max Crosby, and Yannick on that front four. Who's better than them?
Yeah.
Who's better than them in the NFL? Now granted, Darius Philon was out of the league. He came back this year, but not only is he a big boy, he causes a ruckus up there. Yeah. And I'm sorry, excuse me. Gerald McCoy, his first game back in 20 months. Oh my God, he had more penetration than, you know, some things I've seen on the internet. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, if you have that front four, that's going to be hard to stop. And I want it to all come together when we play Kansas City both times because I'm tired of hearing that. I'm just tired of it. So, you know, just transitioning.
Yeah, let's go over to the offense, man, because we've been heavy on the defense, man.
Before we go over to the offense, who are your two defensive standouts for the year? Who you would think that really it may not be maybe because you know like KJ Wright is a premier player.
Yeah.
So we expect big things. So I'm saying who's two players who maybe you don't expect maybe that much from, but they're going to show out this year.
So my two that I spoke to you about that I really do feel, well, the one who I immediately spoke to you before about that I really just do think he's going to have a great year with the new addition, new environment, new personnel. I mean, I got to go right off the back, Cory Littleton. I think he's going to be number one. I think he's going to really have a great year.
Please. When we
that's my gut feeling. I have seen nothing out of the ordinary, but I just feel like if you have a change in atmosphere, you have a change in mindset, it does something to young men that they want to show out. I think the new addition to a lot of people, Cory Littleton was already a fucking talent. I feel like he's going to...
you think, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but so you think that he can and will get back to his playmaker ability his last year on the Rams before he was a free agent who signed with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I absolutely think that this guy is Pro Bowl material. I think this year he's Pro Bowl material.
If that happens, I'm going on record. I will buy you a Cory Littleton jersey.
Hey, I mean, I'm just saying that's my number one guy.
Yeah.
And then the other one guy who I really want to see, who I think may have a great year. And again, this is somebody who, you know, I like him. I really like him. He's not a starter per se because you have guys in front of him, but I think he can solidify himself. And I really think Solomon Thomas is your guy, bro. I really do. I think Solomon Thomas could be a guy that, I mean, look, it's a 17 game season.
Yes.
Longevity is the thing. I just don't think that you're looking at Quentin Jefferson hanging in there. I really don't think he's going to be able to hang in there all the time. I think you're going to be able to get Solomon Thomas some starts here and there. And I think if you give this dude his opportunity, again, we're going out on a ledge here. This is not
like we're saying these are people who there's not a high expectation of them who are going to outperform what the expectations are.
I think these two guys. Yeah. I think these two guys are going that the Raiders, not only did they pay these guys, but they're getting a huge ROI, return on their investment. This is another guy who I think they're getting.
Cory Littleton, we did pay him pretty good. So Solomon Thomas, now I get that, but so let's just tell the viewers, basically what my brother is saying right now, because I don't want it to get mixed up like, oh, well, these are premier players. We're saying these two players right here that we're mentioning are two players that we're not expecting much out of, but are going to outperform expectations based on their role on defense. Correct?
Yeah, and just a precursor to that, like Littleton, yeah, you're right. They paid him, but his expectations, he didn't live up to his expectations last year. I feel like this year he's going to make you feel better. I think this year he's going to make you feel better about the money you paid him, and he's going to exceed to what you're like. All right, cool. We paid him that money. All right, this is what I expected. That's what I'm saying. Now, my thing is, who are your two guys that you expect on the defense? And I mean, I know you, man. You get real creative, man. You go with dudes who people haven't even heard of before. So I'm interested to hear your two guys.
So I wouldn't say it's unheard of, but I think Darius Philon is going to actually do a lot more than what's expected from him. Now, the reason why I say that is because he has a proven nose tackle who he's going to be taking tips from, and that's Gerald McCoy. When you have that as a mentor and you're coming back in the league after being away from football, now he previously signed a deal with the Arizona Cardinals and he got into some legal trouble. So this is going to be like, he's going to make the most of this moment because he knew what it felt like to be out of football, okay? And not only that, he got a good deal in Arizona. It was a 2-year, it was a good deal because he did some things on San Diego Chargers before they were LA that proved to the Cardinals, okay, we're going to give him a 2-year deal. I forget the exact numbers, but I think Darius Philon is going to do a lot more than what's expected from him. And I think he's going to be brought along with Gerald McCoy. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's not your starting tackle, where you have Quentin Jefferson, Darius Philon, Yannick Ngakoue, and Max Crosby, and then you have Gerald McCoy anchoring that second line. And I just think that this dude he's a disruptor, man. He really is a disruptor. He's thankful to be back in football. And the things that, the interviews that I've seen him do, you can just tell that he's at, a good place. Because not only did Gus Bradley believe in him and brought him back in, but he's the type of dude that knows, this is my moment to stamp myself back as being the dude that, when I got that deal from Arizona before I got out of the league, that he once was. And hey, listen, he's not a superstar, but he is productive. And I would be very surprised if he doesn't outperform expectations. So I have him on the defensive line.
So real quick, 2 years, $10 million in 2019, $5 million guaranteed. That's what the Cardinals signed him.
So it wasn't big again. But
it wasn't, but the guaranteed money, half of that contract was guaranteed, like you said.
Exactly.
So in theory, it was actually pretty significant because you're guaranteeing half of his contract for 2 years. And we're talking about 2019. We're not talking about 2020, 2021. We're talking about 2019 money.
And secondly, let's see. I think Amik Robertson. Amik Robertson is going to really come to play on his opportunities. And again, we're not talking about the players that we expect to perform. We're talking about players who we're not really expecting to do a lot or to contribute a lot and end up contributing more than expectations. So I would say Amik Robertson and Darius Philon, only because Amik Robertson has showed flashes of his physicality, his quickness, and just his ability to just sniff things out. And I think with Nate Hobbs being there too, he's kind of on his bumper, man. Like, he's going to be there and he's going to be kind of clipping at his heels, be like pushing him. So they're only going to get better with both of those. And if Nevin Lawson is on the squad, after the second game, since he suspended the first two, I just think Amik Robertson and Nate Hobbs are really going to be, kind of the rotational in the nickel position, the slot corner position. So, and Amik Robertson's actually, he's premier on the outside. So I just think he's going to contribute more than what's expected from him. Again, we're not talking about players who are already kind of have expectations of being high caliber cats. We're talking about people who are going to put out more than expected and that aren't really bigger names within this defense.
Look, I like that Robertson kid's a small school guy, right? Louisiana Tech University, 5'8", small guy, corner, very chippy. Like you said, he's not a premier guy. I like that you went out of the box. You thought of a guy who he's an undersized cat, but at the same time, bro, he brings intensity, man.
Exactly.
He's playing for his job. That's a great pick. I like what you're talking about here.
And again, like when you draft someone in the fourth round, you expect them to contribute. So now he's got a fresh slate. Not only that, Gus Bradley has believed in him more and more as he's given him more reps. So it's like he knows that it's time. Because if not, he could be out of the league. A team may not give him another spot because we've seen something in him that other teams didn't. So those are my two guys, Darius Philon, Amik Robertson. Those are the two that I'm going with not a lot of expectations from the Raiders, but they're going to give us a lot more than what we're expecting.
I like it. Let's switch over to the O now, my man. You take it from here, man. You drive the O.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I gotta order some food right now for me and my son. So
all right. So for me, I like the additions of some key guys. Again, that you had sent me over. The biggest guy who came over to the Raiders, who's going to have a huge impact. I mean, very crystal clear is Kenyon Drake, right? Kenyon Drake was a premier back for Arizona when he was there last year because of the injuries that they had. Guy proved he could carry the load. Josh Jacobs
barely under 1,000 yards too.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs has proved that he's resilient, right? Anytime he's gotten injured, he's bounced back very quickly. He's a very young guy. He hasn't been in the league that long, but he's also a workhorse, right? The thing that I like about adding a Kenyon Drake is that, number one, he played in Miami. He played in Arizona. The guy produces everywhere he goes. He is a back who can do it all. Now, if you look at what Josh Jacobs is a guy who has fantastic hands. He's got incredible movement. He's able to move back and forth on the ball, left and right. He's able to run downhill. He runs with power. You've seen the highlights on YouTube of him stiff arming the shit of fucking people and throwing them to the fucking ground. So the guy is a fucking power back.
Jacobs?
A lot smaller than Derrick Henry, but still shoves the shit out of fucking people. So what I'm saying is that when you add a Kenyon Drake in there, you're only making this young man, Josh Jacobs, that much better because that's another good offensive mind that you've now added into that running back room that he will guaranteed not only take the load off of what you're going to ask Josh Jacobs to do, but will also input his wisdom into that offense. And I mean, if I'm Derek Carr, I'm thanking the GM for fucking giving me another fucking tool in the backfield in case Josh Jacobs gets tired or God forbid he goes down and he can't finish a game or something like that.
Exactly.
Kenyon Drake being a backup. I mean, come on, man. You can't get really much better than adding a back like that.
No, and like you said, I mean, he's a Swiss Army knife, when it comes to being a running back. I mean, you could line him out being a receiver. He could be that guy who is a number one running back. And then in addition, the biggest thing that I know that he needs to work on a little bit that Josh Jacobs is really good at is pass blocking. But you know, if you're just chipping off somebody just to slow them down and you're out in the flats catching a pass, I'll do that all day with Kenyon Drake. I will, no problem. So, we were talking about offense and, you know, the additions. I know that with Kenyon Drake coming over, people were like, oh, I don't know how it's going to be for Josh Jacobs. He's going to take carries away from him. But you want a guy like Josh Jacobs to be fresh because he's a bruiser.
Yep.
Pounding people. He's running in. He literally looks for people to run into, to run over. That's who Josh Jacobs is. And like you said, he's a compact version of Derrick Henry. And the thing that's crazy is Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs played at Alabama together, right?
Yes.
I think Kenyon Drake was like in his last year when Josh Jacobs was in his first year. So they know of each other and they have an established rapport, which is good. And you know, John Gruden loves his Alabama folks. But I just don't see it being a negative. Like people were talking about overpaying for Drake. And then look what happens with the Ravens, you know, two of their premier guys at running back are out for the season. Then they got to go pick up, you know, fantasy draft ballers from 2016 and 2015. So it's just like, why would you get mad at paying him $11 million? You know, I mean, it's not a lot, but the thing is on offense, I think a sneaky addition was Willy Sneed, because I feel like who Willy Sneed is he's kind of like how Anquan Bolden is, you know? And now I'm not saying in physical stature.
Okay.
I'm talking about how he's going to be used. He's a sure catcher. He's a veteran. And if you absolutely need a catch, I think you throw to him and he's going to take it. Like that's just what he's going to do. Now I know 3rd and down is 3rd and Renfro. You know, that's that. But, okay, so you play a team who has 3 really good corners, and you have, you know, Ruggs locked up, you have Edwards locked up, and then, you know, you have somebody on Darren Waller, and Renfro can't get open. Most likely Renfro or Willy Sneed are going to be in there probably switching out roles. But, you know, if there is, you know, a 4-receiver formation with the inline tight end, you know, Willy Sneed's going to be your guy. So I just think the veteran presence he brings, I think the sure pass catcher, and just his leadership, you know, just to kind of help bring those younger guys with Ruggs and Edwards along, just as like what it looks like to be a veteran wide receiver in the league. Now, talent-wise, I think they're way better than Willy Sneed. Physical ability.
Yeah. I mean, to me, to what you were saying, right? I mean, if we're talking Willy Sneed 3 years ago, I'm thinking that's a great pickup.
Yeah, Willy Sneed was.
This is a Willy Sneed with a chip on his shoulder. I think this could be a dangerous Willy Sneed if he really plays to his full potential.
Yeah,
I really do think he could be a key asset. But I want to touch on one thing, man, because there is something that we've talked about many times, bro. And I need you to explain to the people who are watching this why you have so much love for a wide receiver by the name of Bryan Edwards. What is it with you and Edwards, man? You are through the roof on this guy. And I want you to just let me know what it is about this cat, because you think this is his year, man. You honestly do. And I need to know what it is.
The thing is with Bryan Edwards is he really does remind me of Dez Bryant.
Okay.
He reminds me of Dez Bryant with his hand strength. Dez Bryant would rip the ball out of defenders' hands, and he would create catches. He didn't make catches. He created catches. He would go up and get it, and he would create catches. We haven't had a physical wide receiver like that. You know, obviously Darren Waller's a tight end, so he can't.
Yeah.
He's unguardable. I don't care what anyone says.
No, you're absolutely right. I agree with that. That's great.
Henry Ruggs is a burner, okay? He's a finesse burner who can run routes. But the thing with Bryan Edwards is if you look at his tape in college, I do not know how we got him in the 3rd round, because he has first-round talent written all over him. And, he was actually talking high on Dylan Stoner because Dylan Stoner and him actually went to the same school, the guy who's on our practice squad. And Dylan Stoner's like, and I feel like he's kind of that sneaky Renfro type where he's just like this white boy who's just, he can get open, he can make catches, he's athletic. But with Brian Edwards, the thing is he's going to go up and get the ball. He has strong hands. If he can stay healthy now, because it's a big if, I know with the foot injury last year, when he played in games, he got me excited because he's a physical wide receiver who will go up and get it. He will get yards after the catch, and he could overtake, and I know this might piss people off, he could overtake that number one role from Henry Ruggs. And that's something to me, if you have a third round wide receiver who's that physical, who has the speed, who could do the run after the catch, who could potentially take your number one wide receiver spot. I mean, Gruden said he reminded him of T.O., which, I mean, let's just pump the brakes on that.
Yeah.
T.O. is one of like the top three best receivers, I think, to ever play the game. I would say in our era anyways, like in the past, 15 to 20 years, I'd say. But I just love his physical ability. I love his ability to catch it. And dude, he has strong hands. Like when I tell you his hands turn to stone when he grips that ball and you're not taking it from him. Remember on Meet the Parents?
Yeah.
When Ben Stiller's like, I got this lifeless grip on me. I want you to come pry it from me. That's kind of how I think of with Brian Edwards.
Yeah.
You're not getting the ball out of his hands.
Okay.
And just additionally, I think that anyone who plays fantasy, because I don't play fantasy anymore. I won like my last 3 leagues and I stopped playing I think 3 years ago now, just because I don't know. It doesn't allow me to enjoy the game the way I love to. So I think he's a guy too. If you do play fantasy, stash him away on your bench, man, because if he gets going week 1, 2, 3, you could potentially have found a gem that you could use as a flex. So,
okay.
But Dez Bryant in his pivotal years in the Cowboys, that's where I would draw his comparison.
All right. For me, I think that Henry Ruggs needs to have a big year this year. I really do. I don't think that I was really high on Henry Ruggs last year, and I feel like he underwhelmed last year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the young man didn't have a good year. I'm just saying that I expected more from him.
He didn't make competitions.
No. And the thing is that I don't want to make any comparisons, but they were basically saying that him and CeeDee Lamb were going to be like 1 and 2, right? And unfortunately, you had Claypool come out of nowhere and really run away with the rookie numbers last year, right? So
Justin Jefferson on the Vikings was stupid.
I mean, Justin Jefferson was a fucking freak of nature. I think the kid. I mean, that's the reason why they allowed Stephon Diggs to go. Exactly. They create, I think that's why you're seeing Adam Thielen getting phased out to being a 2 now instead of being their primary. Yeah. I really need to see. I would really love to see Henry Ruggs step up big time and live up to his name. Yeah. Because he's got the potential, man. He's got all the star talent. Yep. He's a fast guy. He's dependable for star.
4.2 is very fast in the NFL. And I think even with him adding that weight that he added on, I think he's still the same speed. So he added 15, I think, to 18 pounds, and he's just as fast. That's tough to do. If you know anything about modifying your body on a muscular level, if you add 15 to 18 pounds of muscle, because he's not he didn't gain thick weight, bro.
No, I get you.
18 pounds of muscle, and he still runs a 4.2 easily.
Yeah, so I mean, I really would like to see him do something for me this year. I mean, I felt like he really wasn't what we expected him to be, but I don't know, man. I just see that. And I mean, what you were talking about before with Willy Sneed, I think that if Willy Sneed produces, that gives you, and this is a good segue for you now, is that if that gives you an opportunity and he's good, I like to see us saying goodbye to Zay Jones, because Zay has not done.
I really like Zay Jones.
I don't know, man. I mean, he just hasn't showed up, man. He really hasn't showed up. And
may be the year for Zay Jones.
I mean,
saying it, that's Derek Carr's guy. Like, they work so much in the offseason. And the thing is, Zay Jones looks like he's in incredible shape. So I don't know what he was eating, what his nutrition was, or what have you, but I think we may be seeing him more than Willy Sneed this year.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
I liked him when he got drafted by Buffalo. When he got drafted by Buffalo, I was like, I like this kid. And he came over. He didn't really do much. He had his little moments, but Zay Jones has been in the system now for some time. So Gruden likes him. Derek Carr likes him. When you're at that stature, you're going to get looks. You're going to get consideration to play.
I'm not saying that the talent's not there. I'm just saying that it has not produced on the field yet. And that, to me, alarms me.
Minimal. It's been very
minimal. That alarms me that he has the talent. Like you said, he's got the support, but you're not producing. And this is a league of what have you done for me lately? And he hasn't done enough for the Raiders, man.
That's true.
And this is a guy who unfortunately, as much as you might like him, you might have to cut him loose, bro, because wide receivers are a dime a dozen in this league now, man. Wide receivers are so good, and there's a lot, and there are guys who are fighting and clawing who are on other people's practice squads that you could literally pick and find the next Darren Waller, like he was sitting on.
You ain't find the next Darren Waller.
I mean, I'm not gonna go that far, but Gruden was the one who picked Darren Waller off of Baltimore's practice squad, and look at what he's doing now. So that's why I'm saying, if Zay Jones doesn't want to step up, who's to say that there's not another guy out there who can produce for you?
Which is exactly what we were talking about earlier about John Gruden get heat. I don't care what anyone says. That motherfucker knows about offensive talent, because no one in their mind knew that Darren Waller would be what he would be. And not only that, who thought Hunter Renfrow would be who he is?
No, and I mean, Hunter Renfrow coming out of Clemson was fantastic, bro. Let's not get that twisted.
This guy, he the game-winning catch in that title game. Remember?
I mean, absolutely, he was. But to your point, who is willing to take a chance on him to translate into NFL talent? And that's where Gruden's genius comes into play, is because let me take a chance. And now you're looking at a guy who is probably top 5 slot guy. He's a top 5 slot receiver.
He reminds me a lot of, and I know he used to be on our squad momentarily, but Jordy Nelson.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you said that. That was exactly where I was going.
He really does remind me of Jordy Nelson, but he's a shiftier Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson was like the vertical threat.
Yep.
But the thing that's so underrated about Hunter Renfrow, and I don't mean to be jumping around everywhere, but I'm just really excited about this wide receiver group, is people get so pissed because they look at Hunter Renfrow and they don't believe how shifty he is. Like, the dude can go from running straight to cutting left to going straight and cutting right in the matter of like a second and a half. And it's just, you can't teach that. His awareness to open up the field and just make plays after the catch is like second to none. And
I mean, the kid's got talent. He's got unquestionable talent. He's got unbelievable hands. He's got speed. Yep. He's a scheme guy. He is one of the guys who puts the work in the offseason. He is exactly what you want as a guy in your wide receiver core. I understand you said Jordy Nelson.
In the slot now.
Yeah. Now you were talking about Jordy Nelson.
He's not that number one, number two outside guy. He's not. But in the slot, that dude is the dude in the slot.
Yeah, but that's what you were saying is that you were referring to Jordy Nelson before, right? Here's the thing is that you need guys like Hunter on your squad who can play that role. Yeah. And he's accepted that role and he's continued to excel in that role. So that's my point is I think he is exactly what you want for your squad offensively, man. I really like the kid.
Yeah, and the thing is too is there's a reason why they call it third and Renfro. On third down, you're looking, and Renfro's, I'd say 97% open most of the times. Like those times, he's open. So
and he's scrappy. He's going to get you those yards.
So okay, so within the wide receiver group, we touched on my guy Bryan Edwards.
Yep.
What you are looking at for Henry Ruggs? I know Willy Sneed. I was talking about his veteran, leadership and like what he can potentially do. And the thing I love about this group is they're all really talented. Like they're some of them are under the radar guys that are just really good, but they're dependable cats that Derek Carr needs. And with Josh Jacobs being the bruiser running back, Kenyon Drake being the guy who's going to line up, maybe doing patterns on as a wide receiver. We got Bryan Edwards, my guy, Henry Ruggs, your dude who underperformed last year, but I think he's going to step up and I think he's going to do his thing. Hunter Renfro is just going to be Renfro. He's going to be that consistent guy who we could depend on in third down. Zay Jones, I know you don't like him much, man, but I just have a feeling he's going to do a lot better than what people think of this year. And we can get, once we're finished talking about the offense here, I think, I don't know, I'm going to save it for later, but he may be my under the radar offensive performer for exceeding expectations.
Okay.
Our wide receiver room is Henry Ruggs, Bryan Edwards. You got Hunter Renfro. You have Willy Sneed, Zay Jones, and my guy, number one tight end. Because, let's just think, the guys who are going to be playing are Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, Renfro. Then you'll see some Zay Jones, Sneed kind of, rotating out, depending upon the packages. But Darren Waller, man, like.
Bro, you can't say enough about Darren Waller, bro. I'm sorry.
What I love about him is, the Raiders always get this brand of just being like a bunch of fucking misfits and all this and that. And they just get a negative connotation when it comes to like with the Raiders who they talk about. But talk about an upstanding guy who has overcome adversity, like hit rock bottom. And not only that, pulled himself out. And now he's a premier. And I'm sorry, George Kittle, but he's neck and neck with Travis Kelce, bro. And I think
I disagree with you. I like Travis Kelce, but I think your number one tight end in the NFL is Darren Waller.
He is.
Because and I know you caught the thing on the Fox thing that they did for Darren Waller. Yeah. Here's the thing. They said it best is you talk about Travis Kelce, you talk about Kittle, right? But he does everything that they do better, faster, stronger, better blocker, better hands, can jump higher, run faster, makes catches that these guys can't. And here's the thing is that let's take it back a little bit, right? Gronk changed tight ends. Like Gronk, let's be realistic. He, like, in theory, made a tight end a wide receiver. He went up.
Did, but hold on, let me slow you down real quick. I know you remember a guy by the name of Tony Gonzalez.
Absolutely. But like, here's the thing is that
it was like the original, and then Gronk made it even more so in like the common era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm talking about like common era because like Tony Gonzalez was a freak because he was like an 80s
ex-basketball player,
90s guy. And, and let's not also forget about Antonio Gates, because Antonio Gates was another guy who also did the same thing, right? But here's the thing. This is the difference with Darren Waller. Darren Waller is thinner. He is faster and he is stronger. than all of those guys.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying is that Gronk was smaller in theory, but was stronger and slow.
He's not going to burn you. He's not going to burn you.
Yeah, but this dude will burn you. This dude had over 200 yards receiving in a game.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is no joke.
Against your Jets.
Yeah, this guy is no joke. And that's why I'm saying, like, bro, you can't tell me Kelsey can do that because Kelsey gets tired. Kittle gets tired. Waller don't get tired.
Kittle is like an injury concern, you know? I mean, that's the thing is his durability. Like Darren Waller, I feel like his durability is his best friend because of the fact that he took the time. You know, he used to be on drugs and he knows how detrimental it is to take care of your body because now he's playing longevity at a premier level. Like I mean, I hope, I pray that now that he has the new representation, that the Raiders take care of him because they have to. That's our guy for the next 5 years, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now
you can't let a guy like that ever get away. I'm sorry, that guy can't go.
There's no Khalil Mack happening with Darren Waller. There's
no chance.
There's no chance. But I will say, I don't know if you're aware, but Foster Moreau, man.
That's what I was going to ask you about because I'm uncertain about this guy. Educate me.
Bro, Foster Moreau, his rookie season, man, from LSU, he showed out. Like I think he had like 4 touchdowns and like 400 yards or something. It was something along those lines. Now, I'm not looking at the statistics. Let me just look it up just so I could be exact. But here, let's see. Foster Moreau. There we go. So Foster Moreau's stats. Now, granted, you know, he just came in the league not too long ago. Let me see. That's 2020.
Looks like he was drafted in 19. So this is his third year, yeah?
But his first year, I'm saying, bro, he had 5 touchdowns.
Okay.
With only 174 yards. So my bad. I doubled his yards. But, I mean, he had 5 touchdowns as a rookie and 174 yards. So, and he was a good red zone target. And that really – it kind of fucked us last year because Jason Witten took away his snaps. But then again, he was coming back from an injury. But what it did is Jason Witten helped mentor him. So now that you have Darren Waller in there as your number 1 premier tight end, and then you have Foster Moreau, who's that big body Gronk type, like I just don't think there's going to be a lot of defenses who can scheme for the Raiders offense because we have people at every position and having Foster Moreau at that second tight end. So what's going to happen when Darren Waller's on there and Foster Moreau in the double tights? And then you have Ruggs and Edwards out there too. And then say you bring in Kenyon Drake.
It's so difficult. Difficult offensively to match up with. Like, it's clear cut that they had to emphasize the defense, like we talked about earlier in the cast, is that you had to add all those big names because the defense was lacking so much to catch up to where the offensive level is. Yeah. But the offensive level is just so far ahead and so, like, I mean, if these guys are really engaged, I mean, another year under their belt, man, I really do. I really like what you're saying because
top 5 is in the sights. It's in the sights.
Yeah, I mean, essentially,
it's going to be dependent upon who we're going to go to next, which is the offensive line. So I'll let you finish it. Your thoughts?
So essentially, what you were just saying, what it sounds like with this kid. I mean, now that he's going to basically be your secondary tight end, is that you could potentially see another New England type offense where they're running 2 high priority tight ends who, regardless of who you pick, they're going to get the ball, they're going to score, they're going to be effective. So, I mean,
I didn't mean to bring up his name because I know he's a killer, but Aaron Hernandez and Gronk, you think of the potential.
Well, I'm talking about now Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. Hunter
I
Henry's
don't
over
think
there.
Hunter Henry's that great. I think they're a lot higher on him than what he's going to produce, just because he's injury prone a lot.
But what I'm saying is he's a sure-handed guy who gets you yards. Okay, I'm not saying that he's going to light the world on fire, but he's a decent tight end.
Comparison for abilities, I think Aaron Hernandez Gronk duo is closer to what Waller and Foster Moreau can output. I really do. And I know that's saying a lot, and people might, fucking go in on me for that. But at the same time, that's what I think of when I think of Foster Moreau and Darren Waller. I think Aaron Hernandez and Gronk, because, man, I just think of the offense that Gruden wants to put forward. And he's even made comparisons to Gronk about Foster Moreau, because Foster Moreau is not going to burn you. But I'll tell you what, when he got his touchdown against the Colts last year, he was shifty, man. And I mean, it was a big play too. So just kind of finishing up on this, our tight ends, I feel like we're good.
Okay.
Like, we're strong in our tight ends. Our wide receiver room looks amazing. We got our backs in Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. And I even like the guy Peyton Barber we brought in from Washington.
Now, did he come over from Tampa?
So he played with Tampa. Then he went to Washington, and then
okay.
And then we grabbed him from Washington.
Okay. I didn't know he was with Washington. I knew that he had a pass with Tampa, but I didn't know that he had played with Washington.
Hey, and I think about it, short yardage, third down situations. Now, if Josh Jacobs is banged up and he's carrying the load, put in Peyton Barber, man. Let him run that shit. Fresh legs, short yardage situation. Keep the offense running. And the biggest thing, like I was going to say, which we're going to segue into, the offensive line, man. I know everyone's ripping it up. They're thinking that we're not going to be able to perform. It's young. I get it. But you also have to consider who our offensive line coach is, and Tom Cable. He's one of the best.
I mean, come on, man. Tom Cable is legend, bro.
Dude, and he produces great offensive linemen. I don't want to say offensive lines, because it was a little shaky when he was in Seattle, but they also didn't have the player personnel. I feel like that helped push him along in giving him that validity, of who he is. So you got Andre James, who's starting at center, right? We lost Rodney Hudson to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. No loss to me.
Overpaid and underperformed, even though I know Rodney Hudson was a blessing from Kansas City that when we got him, but overpaid and underperformed. God bless him and everything he does. You gave up Gabe Jackson to Seattle for a pick. And then Trent Brown with that fucking McDonald's eating piece of shit.
Yeah, dude.
I'm just so happy he's gone, because he was a cancer in the locker room. And I'm not saying that he's a bad player. He's just a terrible personality for what his intentions were and what he did on the Raiders, because he pretty much took their money and just left and didn't perform. And yeah, we have a new front.
Wasn't that the cat that you were telling me about, that he basically said he wasn't happy, so he was basically playing his way out of Oakland?
Yeah.
At the time before they moved to Las Vegas.
Yeah, the only reason why he really got his notability is because Tom Brady won a championship and he was there. He was the tackle.
Yeah. Like,
if you look at his career, he's not that premier tackle that, you see some of these long tenured dudes who are like consistently putting up good years, I mean, he was a part of a great team and a great organization who they kind of carried him along. So the offensive line. Now, do you know who the offensive line is? Like the starters, anyways?
Yeah, I got it.
So, because I'm going to pull this up right now. So on our 53-man roster, you have at left tackle starting Colton Miller, great left tackle who we drafted. I think that was the first year of the Gruden era.
Yep.
Colton Miller turned into an excellent pick. The dude's 6'8", 300+ pounds, man. And he comes from my favorite school, UCLA. Hats off to the Bruins again, because they just keep killing it. Richie Incognito, we know he's not going to play, and we're going to get into the Ravens preview of, what our predictions are and kind of what that's going to entail. Richie Incognito, actually, I'll let you just say what you know about him, Anthony, because I know you have kind of more of a personal connection on somebody who knows him that you're friends with. So I'll let you do that real quick.
So Richie is a consummate professional, and I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to his work ethic. He's a guy who works out like continuously in the off season. He pays attention to his diet. He's constantly focusing on rehab, and he works out in the off season in Arizona. For me personally, I think that he's going to be key. I know that he may not be readily available right now, but I do feel like he did get some bad stigma in the past when he was with the Dolphins.
He's crazy, bro.
I mean, he is. But here's the thing: is that you need guys like Richie Incognito on your staff.
Yeah,
you need a guy like that to go to war with. Not everybody could be a nice guy. Not everybody could be cool and calculated. You need some maniacs. And let's not get it twisted. Richie Incognito is one of those guys that you want going into the trenches, blocking for you, doing the damn thing.
We'll go more into that, but I was talking more about the personal connection.
Yeah. He's basically a good friend of mine. Is his personal chef.
Yeah.
So he's a cool guy. Is what I've been told. He's been a really nice guy. Really down to earth. Just super humble guy. Very, like I said, very structured when it comes to off-season workouts. So yeah. I really, that's my guy. I really hope that he balls out this year. I really do. I mean,
trust me, we're gonna miss him on Monday night, man, because I know he is a veteran presence we need. So you know, John Simpson's gonna step in for him, which is the Clemson lineman who we took. I believe it was in 2019. I want to say that is his third year now in the league. I think John Simpson's actually going to step up into the role relatively easily just because he played so much last year. So you got Colt Miller at left tackle. You got John Simpson at left guard. Then you have Andre James, another UCLA guy. Again, UCLA is my squad. You know, he's going to step in. And I know there's a lot of question marks about him, but he was learning from Rodney Hudson, one of the best in the league. And he's fast. He's big. He's very intelligent. I feel like the moment's never too big for him, so he could step in and just kind of go. Now he's going to get tested, of course, because he doesn't have many snaps or, you know, the tenure yet. However, I think he's going to do great because he spent all offseason with Derek Carr. He's building that rapport. He's getting to know, you know, that leadership role that he has to take on and get familiar with. As a quiet guy, he's up to the challenge of being that voice of the lineman room because he has to be. And then you have Denzel Good, who's returning, who I thought played great last year. He literally did anything we needed him to do, tackle, guard, whatever we needed him to play. And then you have Alex Leatherwood, man, the rookie out of Alabama. And, you know, John Gruden gets a lot of shit about that draft pick, but I think if you take Trayvon Moehrig in the first round, Alex Leatherwood is gone by that second round pick. Do you agree?
I like Alex Leatherwood. I think that.
Remember what I told you about him?
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember his name being thrown around when I was looking at a lot of the first round prospects. He was one of the O linemen that was somebody that the Jets might have been looking at trading up to getting. Now they ended up getting Elijah Vera Tucker, who got his ass whooped like a fucking redheaded stepchild today. He got worked today bad. I think Alex Leatherwood is going to be I would like to say that he is going to be a big-bodied tackle who is going to protect.
He's a mauler. He's a mauler.
He's definitely going to step in, and he is going to protect Derek Carr. I think he needs a big body like that. I think you're absolutely right. If you didn't take him early on, kid would have been gone, and I think it would have been a team that was very, let's put it this way, a Baltimore Ravens, a a Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots, got a prominent passer in their backfield, that they want this dude there because he is massive. He can block. He is somebody who is going to protect you. I like Alex Leatherwood. I like him
too. Like, yes, the big down on him was he is a predominant run blocker. He's a mauler. However, now you can elevate your game in the league in pass blocking, because pass blocking is something you're always going to need to work on. So if you have the run game down and that's your strength, I'm okay with you not being as keen as pass blocking, because guess what? Every week, you're going to be spending that extra time on pass blocking. And we got some good pass rushers in our division and in the league that you have to. It is a must. Otherwise, you'll be in and out of this league within 4 or 5 years.
And let's not forget, Derek Carr has already spent enough time on his back getting sacked significantly earlier on in his career that this guy does not need that. He needs insurance. Exactly. I think Alex Leatherwood is a guy who's definitely going to provide that for you. And that's why I say, like, I think that the pick was great. Like I told you, remember we were watching the draft. We were talking on the phone when it came up. I told you I liked the pick. I told you I liked the pick.
I didn't know enough about it. I didn't know enough about it.
I liked it from the beginning, man. I really did, because, like, number one, he's going to block for you. So he's going to create opportunities for Jacobs. And in addition to that, he's also going to protect he's going to protect Carr, give him more time to get number one, read the plays more, dump the ball off. I mean, I really think that it was a great pickup. I like the kid.
And it's just the thing that I loved about because Tom Cable loves him. Like, that's his prototype dude. John Gruden, what he said was, it was a crazy thing that he mentioned, which is funny to me, is he said his wingspan is about 8 inches bigger than what his height is. So when you have someone like that, you could put your hands on someone easier and faster, and you have the ability to maybe not be as quick and still get your hands on a guy and be able to block them the way you want if you have good feet. And Alex Leatherwood has good feet. So that's the one thing, so our starting line, we have Colton Miller left tackle. We have John Simpson, who's going to be playing this game against the Ravens, but Richie Incognito, who's a starter, he's dealing with that calf injury. Andre James at center, Denzel Good at right guard, and Alex Leatherwood at right tackle. Now, if you look at the size of this line and the quickness, we've upgraded, okay? We've upgraded the athletic ability of this line. And I know Gabe Jackson, Rodney Hudson, and Trent Brown, they were all Pro Bowlers at one point. But the thing is they're getting older, they're getting slower, and they're underperforming their contracts. It's a business at the end of the day. If you don't live up to the contract, you got to move on, because we still have a mission at hand, and that's getting the Super Bowl number 4 in that trophy case. And Derek Carr wants to do it. And I know our backup O-line, it's not the best, but I like Brandon Parker at the swing tackle. And Nick Martin will be a serviceable center as a backup, rotating into that guard position as needed. But, we do have big bodies, and Tom Cable will get those guys up to speed. And you're dealing with Derek Carr here, who has probably one of the fastest releases in the NFL. So I think if he does have to move around a little bit and run, I think he can make plays. I think he's comfortable enough in that system going into his 8th year and the 4th year with Gruden. I think he's comfortable enough to make plays if he doesn't have the comfortability of standing in the pocket, because he's getting a lot more awareness would be the best word for it in those situations, to where he'll step up, he'll move around, and he'll throw the ball downfield. I mean, I don't know if you saw, because I know you're big in Twitter, and like I'm on Twitter all the time, but when they showed that clip of Derek Carr scrambling against the Chargers, where he rolled out to the right and made that perfect pass down to, I believe it was Nelson Aguilar over Casey Hayward, who who ironically is on our team now, but he made that play with his legs. So Derek Carr is not this, I have to stand in the pocket, like, in position quarterback. He can be mobile when he needs to.
No,
So
absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, because I know the dude gets a lot of flack, and I know I've been pissed before with it. What's your take on Derek Carr?
I think my personal opinion, and this is hearing a lot of people last year. A lot of people were chirping last year that it should be Derek Carr's last year.
Yeah.
I disagree. I very much disagree. I think you have to roll with the guy one more year. I think this is Derek Carr's make or break year.
Yeah.
But just for the reason that, number one, if you stress an offense out, meaning that your defense is so shitty that you're throwing the offense out on the field more than they need to be, they're not going to perform to where they need to be at. Because I'll tell you this right now. I don't care if you throw Tom Brady out there. I don't care if you throw Patrick Mahomes out there. Like, I don't care if you throw Josh Allen out there. It don't matter, man. If they're on the field all day, they're getting tired.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I feel like happened with Derek Carr was you run him out there over and over and over again just because your defense is so substandard that now, as a result, your offense.
Oh my God, it was one of the worst.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that like
nice with that. Substandard is being nice.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to like go there, but like all I'm saying is that you're taking away the effectiveness of the offense. If you beef the defense up, which you've done this year, I feel now all of a sudden the offense has a chance to be able to fire on all cylinders, have its opportunity to be able to play to its full capability. If he's unable to perform with the cast that he has around him now, then we might be having a difficult conversation about if he needs to be here next year.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I like the guy. I personally think he's a good quality guy. I think his character is unquestioned. I think he's one of the best guys in the NFL as far as his character is concerned. I think he has what it takes as far as toughness. I think that his arm is there. I don't think that there's anything about him that he lacks. If he can't put it all together this year, I think no. But he
has to get to the playoffs. He has to. And like you said, because we did not have a defense at all that was anything to write home about. Let's just be clear about that. I think the biggest thing that I loved about Yannick Ngakoue when he came over, he even said himself, we need to help the other side of the ball because the offense is great. Derek Carr is great, but the defense needs to help out the offense. And that's the big thing where it's like, listen, some people want to put Derek Carr like the 15th, 16th, 17th best quarterback. I honestly believe, and I'm super critical of Derek Carr, I think he's right around 8 or 9. He's right inside the top 10. He needs to be better with ball security. Let's just fucking get that out there.
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons game last year, I just about wanted to jump through the TV and literally just like give this dude a 4-hit combo and just be like, yo, if you're going to be getting knocked down, at least let the fans do it because we're just so pissed off at you. But yeah, man, ball security, it has to happen. Ball security should be the number one thing for Derek Carr because he could throw the deep ball. He has amazing awareness and he does extend plays with his legs when he can. And I think now that Gruden's given him the confidence, like, you know what, go run. If you need to go make a play, run.
Yes.
Like there were plays that, the folks on Twitter in the Twitter space, Raider Nation, they pointed out a few plays and it was blatantly obvious. And it's like, if you just move in the direction of where we need to go with your legs, we'll just be in a better position and we can get the extra play, So I think Derek Carr, like you said, man, this is the year. Like I really don't know who we would get because I believe Marcus Mariota is going to be incorporated into some of these packages down in the red zone. And
Yeah.
what he did against the Chargers last year when he came in for Derek Carr, I think that kind of opened John Gruden's eyes to being like, hey, we may need to take some notes from Sean Payton and the Saints from what Taysom Hill and Drew Brees were doing to incorporate Marcus Mariota and really see what Derek Carr maybe might not be able to do that Marcus Mariota could do and plug and play them a little bit more down in the red zone.
It surprises me that the Raiders have rolled with Marcus Mariota for this long. I honestly thought that in the offseason they were going to try and trade him to get compensation back for him just because of the carousel around the league. But at the same time, you don't have a guy like Mariota hanging back there in a Gruden offense. I mean, a Gruden scheme that's going on, that he's not just keeping them there for any reason. I think that there's stuff going on in the shadows that, God forbid, he needs to step in. I think Mariota is not only going to be more than serviceable, I think he's going to be a guy who might just be able to run the offense. I mean, if we're talking about Carr not being able to do it, that might be the reason why they still have Mariota, bro.
Yeah. And I mean, that's very true. And you know, I didn't look that far down the road, but yeah, I get it. I just think Derek Carr, he doesn't get enough credit. Now, I'm not high on Derek Carr just because I'm just hard on everyone. I feel like I'm hard on myself. So Derek Carr, when he does great things, I'm like, yes, that's the fucking guy that we want.
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy I know you're capable of. But when he fucks up, I'm right there like, you know what, dude, this guy's just pissing me off. He's trash. And, you know, I'm right there frustrated with the rest of Raider Nation, man. Because the thing is it's like Derek Carr has no excuses this year. There's no excuses. Like the defense,
absolutely zero.
The defense is in place. We have ridiculous amount of weapons. And it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, now it's go time. So now I want to get to, you know, because we kind of went over the tight ends, the wide receivers, the running backs, and, you know, the quarterbacks. I didn't really need to talk much about Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota because I wanted to talk more about the positional guys. And I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast because, you know, this again is our first episode, Rican Brothers Raider Nation podcast. You know, we're going to be doing this. I don't know if you want to do this once or twice a week, but I think the first week, you know, with us putting this out pregame before the Raiders play tomorrow, September 13th, opening night in Vegas, it's going to be huge. I really want to try to do this one pregame and one postgame podcast just so we can kind of recap things because I want to go into the Ravens preview against the Raiders, and then we'll wrap things up after that. I like the look of this team. I really do. And I really like what we did on defense. The young playmakers were faster, simplified. We have veterans at every position, the defensive back position, linebacker, the line position. And dude, our front seven it's going to be scary. And I think people, you know, once we start performing and it's not just on paper, I think people will recognize that. So last things on the offense. Now we picked two guys on defense. Who do you think on offense, two guys who are going to show up that may not be expected to do much on the offensive side?
So my first guy, I'm going to go right out. I mean, I know that this isn't probably like a hot take, but I'm going with Leatherwood. I'm going with Alex Leatherwood right off the bat. I think that this guy's going to come in and he's going to solidify himself
as a starting right tackle.
I mean, I think that he's gonna be the identity of that offensive line going forward. I really do. Now, secondly, for me,
just real quick, how many sacks do you think he'll allow this year?
No more than 3.
Okay, I was going to say
more than 3.
5 on the high end 5, I'd say.
So for me, I'm thinking no more than 3.
Okay,
I mean, if he allows more, I mean, I could chalk it up to him being a rookie, but I would probably say I really do think that I really don't think that he's gonna be a guy who's gonna allow too much. Like, honestly, I think he's gonna perform well. I would say my last guy that I honestly think offensively that's going to do work, Kenyon Drake.
Woo.
I think Drake is going to get, and this is for none of you fantasy guys out there that have a lot of stock in Josh Jacobs. I'm going to give Kenyon Drake 7 touchdowns this year.
Woo. Hey, it's doable.
7 touchdowns.
It's doable.
7.
And let me ask you this.
I think the way that he's going to score those touchdowns are either going to be as a third down back, receiving touchdowns, or, you know, you get creative. But
I think there is only running or pass catching.
No. I meant like I'm talking about like different schemes that are going on. I don't think that it's going to be a primary back situation that he's going to aim for all those touchdowns. But the number 7 really sticks out to me with him. I really think he's going to earn his paycheck this
So you think he'll have more catching touchdowns or more rushing touchdowns?
I think he's going to be more of a receiving touchdown guy.
Okay.
And I think, and what I'm saying by that is it might be a 2-back backfield sets where he might get the touchdown, with Jacobs being like the you know, like the confuser on the field, you know, like he's going to be the person that draws the attention away. And then basically all of a sudden Kenyon Drake's going to be over on the side and a little dump off for a touchdown.
Yeah. No, I like it. So Alex Leatherwood and Kenyon Drake.
Those are my 2, man. I like those 2 cats.
Yeah, and I know you're getting tired, man. So I'm sorry because I know that you had a good day today watching the Jets and everything. But hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Work hard, play hard.
It wasn't great, but it's okay. We'll be all right.
Work hard, play hard, man.
You got it.
So I got 2 for you that you probably would maybe expect one of them, but my number 1 I think is going to be Andre James. I think that he's going to step up. I think there may be some rough patches in the beginning, but I think once week 7 hits is when he's going to hit his stride. And I think he's going to power through those first couple weeks and learn from those mistakes. And I think he's going to be solidified by week 7, 8, where he is commanding this offensive line and he's making all the right checks with Derek. And I think he's really going to earn the trust of everyone around him.
Okay.
For what he can do. Because you got to remember, this is a guy, again, UCLA produces pretty damn good linemen. Okay. So that's my first one is Andre James. The second one, and I know you may already kind of know, but Foster Moreau, man. I really think he's going to make a big impact. I think when he's in there, not only is he going to be a dominant run blocker to help seal those edges up for Josh Jacobs and even Kenyon Drake, but I think he's going to end the year with around 6 touchdowns, 5 or 6 touchdowns. And I think he's going to be his own target because a guy like that, he doesn't get really a lot of attention. He's sneaky fast with his agility. He can just kind of get out there and just move for how big he is. And he has really good hands, man. He really does have good hands. So for me on offense, I'd say Andre James is going to solidify that center position. I'd say week 7 and 8 is when you're going to know that he's the real deal. And I think Foster Moreau is going to get right around 5-6 touchdowns for the year as far as, who my 2 on offense who you may not expect much from them, but they're going to exceed any kind of expectations you may have. because Andre James is expected to struggle all year. They're comparing him like you can't go from Rodney Hudson to a guy who's played one game, but it's like this dude's been in the system. He's been behind Rodney Hudson. He's stepped in and he's played very well.
Listen, there was a reason why you made Rodney Hudson available, and that's the reason why this kid was able to step up.
They had to have seen something in him. They had to have seen something in him where it's like, okay, we can move on from Rodney Hudson.
And that's my point, is that a lot of people, they fall in love with these players and they're like, oh, well, how could you move on from this and blah, blah. Give the kid a shot. I'd love to see what he does this year. And like I said, I mean, the only thing is that, you know, him and Derek Carr's relationship's only going to get better. He's going to do a lot better. And like you said, I mean, you can't expect him to light things on fire just from the very beginning. Give him a few weeks and see what the hell happens.
Exactly. So, you know, moving along, you know, because we've gone over the defense, we've gone over our two players who we expect, both you and I. We've gone over the offense. We've gone over our two players on offense. I want to get into, you know, the Ravens, Raiders, just projections and what you're expecting from, you know, this game and what you see happening with this new defense. So I'll give you the floor. Let me know. First, what I want to know is what are some things to look for in the game? Give me a score prediction.
Yep.
And where do you see the areas that are strengths and weaknesses for the Ravens?
Okay, so just to start out, I'm gonna go with let's go with the elephant in the room. Number one is they have absolutely no running game this week. It's gonna be Dick. Okay, I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Hey, 2016, we might be having a different discussion.
Yes. However, with what's happened, I'm just talking about, and if you're not, if you don't know, the two ACLs, torn ACLs of the running backs, right? You got this new kid. What the hell's this guy's name? Let me see here. Hold on. I was just looking up the wide receivers, but the running back for Tyson Williams is going to be your number one this week, and they're actually not even
number 3 back too.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that he's not even going to be. If that's the shitty part is that he's not even going to be the number one guy going forward. They signed Latavius Murray as well. So
Le'Veon Bell, I think, is going to be getting a lot of reps.
Yeah, but here's the thing is that Latavius Murray is already going to be added to their active roster, whereas Le'Veon Bell has not worked out at all and has not been in a camp. So basically, they have the opportunity to put him twice on the practice squad before he has to be put on the active roster. So you're going to see Latavius Murray be the starting back next week. This week, you got Tyson Williams, who he's a younger guy. He's going to be inexperienced, so I think that plays in the favor of the Raiders defense. I think that the linebackers are going to have easier time tracking him and being able to kind of solidify him. They don't really have much of a worry with that. I think that the problem is only going to herein lie with their wide receiver core. And the only ones that I really see being a problem is going to be Sammy Watkins and Hollywood Brown. Now, Hollywood Brown, to me, okay, is a bust, is a draft bust, okay? He was good. He has shown flashes where he's fast, but again, he hasn't produced. I certainly don't think that he's going to have a career game against the defense of the Raiders.
Better not.
I certainly hope he doesn't. But you got Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown. Those are your three guys, your three wide receivers.
He's injured right now, right?
Who's that?
Rashad Bateman. He's been nursing a hamstring injury.
Yeah, so you also have Miles Boykin and Tylan Wallace. Those are some other guys. Miles Boykin was a guy who was on the squad last year. For me, I'm going to tell you this right now. I think your main problem that you have to solidify and you have to watch out for, and this is a good test for them, is you have to pay attention to Lamar. Bar none. I mean, it lives and it dies with Lamar, right? Lamar Jackson can do basically, he can rush the ball, he can throw the ball. Now, that's why I say it's going to fall on your secondary. You have a younger secondary, yes. My prediction for the score now, I'm going to go 24-20 Raiders. That's my prediction. 24-20 Raiders. I don't see it being a shootout because I don't see them having a lot of offensive weapons. However, I will say this. Richie Incognito's not in. You have a new center who's playing. So you're going to have some learning on the ropes, right? You're going to have some issues. Josh Jacobs was questionable, so you don't really know what kind of performance you're going to necessarily get out of him. I don't think he's going to be 100%. I definitely think he's going to get in the end zone at least once.
Yeah.
But I do think that the offense is not going to be as high powered as it could be. I would look for a good game out of Darren Waller. And I would also look for, I would like to see your man Edwards get 75 yards receiving. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see him turn out a 75-yard effort, maybe 5 to 7 catches. That would be lovely to see. I'd like to see him get implemented. I'd also love to see, I'm big on Henry Ruggs. I'd like to see him get in the end zone. But I think your offense right now is, this week it's going to be the Darren Waller show again. I mean, I know they're going to definitely be looking for him, but Josh Jacobs being the question mark. Don't also forget that Kenyon Drake is there, and he could also ball out as well. So my guy who I'm going for this week, who I'm just looking at being your superstar, I mean, it's not going out on a ledge. It's not anything crazy, but I think Darren Waller is going to be your man. I think you're going to be looking at 140 yards, maybe 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and I think another player, on the Ravens that we really need to keep an eye on is their tight end, Mark Andrews. He's definitely no slouch. And like you said, Sammy Watkins, Mark Andrews, and Hollywood Brown, and then Lamar Jackson. I was just fucking around, just looking at something, and I pulled up a Ravens thing that said that they're going to have, and these are bold predictions. They beat the Raiders by 30 plus points. Latavius Murray and Tyson have over 100 yards. And then they said Lamar Jackson has over 400 yards. And then they have 5 sacks. And I'm just like they really think that this O-line isn't shit. And I think that's another thing that I feel like the Raiders in this game really need to do, and I think they will do, is they really need to put their best foot forward and shut some of these people up who just think they're not shit. Yeah. For some reason, they think they're going to be the bottom of the AFC West, which I don't think is anywhere close to the truth. But I think the key to this game is just containing Lamar Jackson. That's the big key to the game. The defense for the Ravens, they always have a good defense. So it's not anything that is new to us. And I think it's going to be a task for our offensive line. The Raiders offensive line has a test in front of them, but I don't think it's one that can't be handled. And I think that the biggest key to the game is containing Lamar Jackson. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of spy work, on the defense, where they're just having that spy and they're having somebody who's fast, is a sure tackler, who's spying on Lamar Jackson. And I think when it comes to the offensive side, I don't think I know that they have a great secondary. I'm not going to talk smack. I think Marlon Humphrey's probably one, if not the best defensive back in the league. I think he's right up there with Jalen Ramsey as number 1. And I just think we have way too many weapons. Even on the low end, I just feel like we have so many guys that Derek Carr is comfortable going to, spreading the ball around. And they can't be everywhere at once. You know what I'm saying? They're going to find holes. It may be a little bit of a rough first half, but I think the second half is where we really take off, just because, the Raiders have a history of kind of doing that. And especially with John Gruden, I feel like his second half offense is always better than his first half offense. Again, that's just my opinion.
So what do you feel like your prediction of score is going to be?
For my score prediction, I'd probably say that we beat them 27-21.
Okay.
So
we're not far off, you and I. We're about the same neighborhood.
Yeah, and they have a 51-point spread collaboratively for both scores. And I think, okay, so just say you're looking at 26-25, right? Give or take 26-25, 27-24, whatever the case may be. I think the injuries affect the Ravens, especially the Marcus Peters injury, because Marcus Peters has a history of doing well against Derek Carr. Now, Derek Carr has had his number at moments, but I think Marcus Peters has had Derek Carr's number more than, other cornerbacks.
Yep.
And Marlon Humphrey, who is he going to be on? Henry Ruggs? So who's on Brian Edwards? I know the dude on Brian Edwards, he's going to be very physical with, but who's covering Darren Waller? Nobody. You can't guard Darren Waller.
And that's what I'm saying, bro, is that dude, as much as people are talking a lot of shit about this Raiders squad, the injuries have decimated the Ravens, bro. They have a lot to prove tomorrow. The Raiders have not lost anyone. They have added personnel. And the thing is that the Ravens are fighting an uphill battle tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that the Raiders added defensive weapons to beat the Chiefs. If you're aiming to beat the Chiefs,
yep,
the Ravens are no match for what you've put together.
I think they are, only because Lamar Jackson is such an incredible player and he's an former MVP, because he can easily rush for over 100 yards and throw 200 and the score can bust wide open, just because the types of plays that Lamar Jackson makes. But like you said, I just think the running back room is not going to be caught up to speed. So I just think it's comical that they think Latavius Murray and this Tyson Smith dude is going to get over 100 yards on that Ravens prediction I saw. Maybe they give up some sacks, the Raiders, but I think Derek Carr, he has a really good release as far as the quickness of his releases. And I think if we just contain Lamar Jackson, because he's still going to get his yards, he's going to make his plays. I think if you keep it minimal, that's going to be the keys. And to be honest with you, I think the biggest key for the Raiders is the linebacker play.
Oh, yeah.
The linebacker play is going to be pivotal, because that's who's going to be, keeping eyes on Lamar Jackson. That's who's going to be keeping eyes on the running backs. And when you have linebackers who are good in coverage, it makes it a different game when you have someone like Lamar Jackson, because I think our front four, bro, I am ecstatic to see what Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue can do, because there has never been a time that we've had two pass rushers that are, averaging 9 or more sacks that play opposite end of each other, And, hey, don't get me wrong. I think Cleveland Ferrell is a great run stopper. I just don't think he's a sack artist,
Yeah.
When it comes to playing the defensive end. So I'm interested to see how the rotation works out. I'm interested to see what our game plan is against Lamar Jackson. And the biggest thing is I'm interested to see how the Raiders respond if they get down.
Yeah.
If the Raiders get down, I want to see what's happening. What are we doing to correct those things that go wrong if they do? And I think either way, it's going to be a really back and forth game.
I think your two guys that you're talking about, like you said, who are really going to have to show up tomorrow, who I think are going to play great. I've said it, and you heard me earlier. I think Cory Littleton's going to have a great game, and I think that Denzel Perryman's going to come out. They're going to both show out. I don't expect KJ Wright to play out of his mind yet, because again, he signed later on in camp. He's still getting a lot of stuff down. Don't
Bro,
get
I
me
think he
wrong.
signed what 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, he's still in theory.
no, a week ago. It was a week ago.
He's still learning. He's still getting back in shape. Not to say that he hasn't been working out or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that the two guys you got to look at as far as the defensive side for those linebackers are Perryman and Littleton. And I think, and again, like I said,
Hey,
my guy
Littleton,
this year is Littleton.
I'd love to see him in some blitz packages, to be honest with you, because he's fast off the end. And I know in well, I don't know, were they in St. Louis when he was on there? There was LA, right? It was LA. Yeah, it was LA when he was on the Rams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think Littleton has a lot to prove this year, and I think he's going to do okay. I think this game in particular is like the time when players like Littleton and Trayvon Moreg and Abram come up and they show out, you know?
Oh yeah. I like that. I like that.
So just wrapping up here, it's your boy Nazo and Anthony just on the Rican Brothers Raider Nation podcast. We just kind of want to bring it to a close here. You can go ahead and like and subscribe to our podcast. We're going to be doing pregame and postgame podcasts. We'll start to kind of get more structured as things go along, because we kind of did this one a little bit more freestyle just because it was just something that kind of came into fruition just within the last 2 weeks. And I wanted to do a lot of coverage over the off season, but I think there's a lot of great content people out there. Graphic Raider's really good. Raider Honcho, Mitchell Renz is really good. I really keep up with those guys. You got the Unfiltered Truth, Phil Jones on Twitter. I'm big on Bleacher Report. So Vinny Bonsignor, big shouts out to all those guys and all they do for Raider Nation. I just want to join the family of content folks. And, I just appreciate my brother kind of stepping in kind of last minute just to kind of make this possible. Because, even though he's a Jets fan, he is passionate about the Raiders. He does have love for the Raiders. So if he's not correct with stuff, don't really jump on him. Just help him get caught up.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of his focus is on the Jets, but he is a passionate football guy. Again, I just really appreciate everyone taking the time just to view this. I'll post this shortly after we're done here. Keep an eye out for more videos that we're going to do in this Zoom where we're posting stuff up, talking about it, and just kind of keeping up with news that's going on. And yeah, again, I just want to thank everyone for kind of tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. Again, things are going to be up shortly here. And I don't know, anything else that you got, man, for the kind of wrap up?
I don't know. I would just encourage everybody to, leave feedback, any questions you might want to have answered.
Yeah.
We're going to try and at some point in time, get people to actually call in, leave voicemails, and we're going to address those. In addition to that, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, maybe trade ideas, free agent signings, guys that you want to see cut, like anything like that. Like, we'd love to hear about everything. And, like my brother said, look, it's all about family and all about, passion for the sport. I definitely have a lot of love for the Raiders. I think Raiders are a great franchise. Again, there's not a lot of things that I'm 100% accurate on, but at the same time, we're all getting caught up, and everybody's perspective and point of view is actually super valued. So if you have anything that, key points that you think that we talked about, leave us a comment, we'll touch on it. And I mean, I think that's super important, but I really appreciate the time. And I had a fun time talking about this one. And, again, I can't wait until the post game, because we'll be watching tomorrow feverishly and really paying attention to stuff and have more content for the post game show.
Absolutely. And just kind of going back to what you said, man, we really do want feedback. We want your comments. Try to keep it positive. I know the negative shit can get really slippery. I don't care if you talk shit, do your thing. I'm used to Raider Nation. That's how we roll. And, we're just two Puerto Rican brothers who kind of, just love football, man. We really want to get you guys more involved in just the topics and just the content. we're not going to be doing this any more than twice a week. So all the other content creators, I'll still be watching your stuff. I'll look to you for kind of the things that you do well and, learn from you guys. And I just want to say, Raider Nation, I really appreciate you. Go Raiders. Let's get this dub tomorrow. And I really appreciate you guys listening, and let us know feedback, comments, like, subscribe, share, and I hope y'all have a good night.